Today, we're diving deep into the secrets of the multilingual mind. And trust me, it's way more than just knowing a bunch of extra words. Let's get into it. So, have you ever really stopped to think about what's going on in there? You know, when someone just flips between languages like it's nothing? What's happening behind the scenes? Well, that question goes way deeper than you might think. Because here's the thing, the science is telling us learning another language isn't just adding a new app to your phone. Oh no, it is a fundamental overhaul of the entire operating system. It's a complete cognitive rewiring. Okay, so let's start with something you can actually see on the surface. That constant juggling act between languages, it leads to this seriously powerful upgrade in the brain's main control center. Most of us see someone switching languages and we just think, oh, they're translating in their head. But that's not what's happening at all. What's really going on is a process psychologists call executive control enhancement. Every single time a multilingual person opens their mouth to speak, their brain is making a choice, and just as importantly, it's actively shutting down the language it doesn't need in that exact moment. So how does that even work? Well, think of your brain like a muscle. All of those constant mental gymnastics, that back and forth, it strengthens the prefrontal cortex. That's the part of the brain that handles complex decisions and focus. It's basically a non-stop workout that makes you better at filtering out all the noise and just zeroing in on what really matters. And this mental workout does more than just sharpen your focus. It gets way more personal. You know, we tend to think that language is just a tool to express who we are. But the reality? The language we speak is actively shaping who we become. You might have heard this from multilingual friends. They say they feel like a slightly different person depending on the language they're speaking. This isn't just them code switching to fit in. Nope, it's a real phenomenon called linguistic relativity of self. The language you're using can literally shift your entire psychological framework. Just look at this example. Someone might find themselves being more direct, more assertive when they're thinking and speaking in English. But in Spanish, they might be more relational, more emotional. And that's because every language comes with its own web of culture, its own emotional baggage, and even its own ways of structuring simple logic. So here's the key takeaway. This is not a sign of a confused or fractured identity. It's actually an incredibly sophisticated skill, what cognitive scientists call contextual identity flexibility. It is this rare and amazing ability to just fluidly adapt your entire psychological framework to fit the linguistic world you're currently in. And believe it or not, this rewiring goes beyond personality. It has these profound long-term effects on the physical health and the actual resilience of the brain itself.
You know, we often think that staying sharp in old age is all about genes or maybe doing crossword puzzles. But being multilingual builds something that neuroscientists call cognitive reserve. It's basically an extra stockpile of neural connections that acts like a backup generator for your brain, protecting it from damage.
And the payoff for this is, well, it's staggering. On average, people who are multilingual show a delayed onset of symptoms for things like dementia and Alzheimer's by 4 to 5 years. Just let that sink in for a second. 4 to 5 extra years of cognitive health. So how is that even possible? Well, every single time the brain switches between languages, it's paving new neural pathways. And over a lifetime, this creates this super dense network of, think of them as redundant mental highways. So if one road gets blocked by age-related damage, the brain just goes, no problem, and reroutes traffic through another one. But there's this other really bizarre side effect. Multilinguals sometimes have this moment where they know a concept, they can feel it, but they cannot find the word for it in any of the languages they speak. It's not just a simple memory lapse, it's something else entirely. Psychologists call this tip of the tongue across language systems, and what it shows us is just wild. It suggests that multilingual brains create these abstract concept nodes that exist completely separate from any specific language. And when that node fires but it doesn't connect to a word, they experience pure, nonverbal thought, a state of just awareness without any words attached. Now, all this rewiring doesn't just change how multilingual people think, it fundamentally changes how they see the world, and maybe more importantly, how they understand the people in it. It often seems like multilingual individuals are just uncannily good at seeing multiple points of view at the same time. And this isn't just because they've seen more cultures. It's an actual structural change in the brain called decentered perspective processing. I mean, think about it. From a very young age, their brains learn a really fundamental lesson. The same exact reality can be described in different yet equally valid ways. The word red and the word rojo aren't competing for which one is right. they're parallel truths. This hardwires the brain for cognitive flexibility, which it turns out is the very foundation of sophisticated empathy, of what we call theory of mind.
And finally, have you ever noticed a multilingual person switch to their second language when they're talking about something really difficult or emotional? It might look like they're trying to detach, but what they're actually doing is using a powerful psychological tool called linguistic emotional regulation.
You see, our second languages are often processed in parts of the brain that have weaker emotional connections. So by switching over, they're not avoiding their feelings. They are intentionally accessing a mental space that has less emotional noise, which allows for a clearer, more rational analysis of a situation. It's basically a form of built-in cognitive therapy.
So what does this all boil down to? All these little quirks, the identity shifts, those weird tip-of-the-tongue moments, the emotional regulation, they're all signatures of a brain that has been fundamentally rewired. The research really says it best. Multilinguals are operating with an enhanced cognitive architecture that most of us just never develop.
Which really leaves us with one final thing to think about. Whether you speak one language or five, every single word we learn shapes who we are. So the real question isn't just about them, it's about us. How has language rewired you?